Well, hello. Wow, it's been a, I'm going to describe this week. It's been a bits and bobs week, isn't it? Saturday morning, new anglers have arrived. I've just dropped them off down the swims. They've gone in the Rocky Single and the Lawn again, and split. Yeah, Dave and Graeme. Lots of fish in the Fensmere that can beat their PBs, so it's going to be quite exciting to see how their week goes. Let me have a look down here and see how this is going. The overflow's still good. So what's been occurring? Few bits and bobs. I've moved 100 C1s up into the top lake. I've been observing all week and the cormorants seem to have disappeared. So I've taken an executive decision, and the 100 best ones that I kept from the tank, I've had them in cages, and I really want them growing. This is growing season for them, and I want them growing. I don't want them sat in those tanks stressed. So I've taken 100 of them out and I've put them in here. So this lake at the moment has 16 or 20 coming into their C3 years, C2s, and 100 of the sort of best ones that were left in the tank. Now the plan then is this week the Leany Pond. So the Leany Pond, it's going to be a bit cooler this week, so a better week to drop that, and I think we're safe. So I'm going to drop the Leany Pond. We'll take out the 50 or so remaining C2s that are going into their C3 years, and they'll go up into this top lake to make that up to a sort of around sort of 70 C2s coming into their C3 years. So I can hopefully get them up around that sort of double figure mark in the top lake, or up into them sort of high singles, doubles. And then I'll grade the rest of the fish that are down in the Leany Pond. And there was 700 put in there, but of course we have had cormorants in there, so that's why I'm hedging my bets, and I've put 100 up here. This will handle it because it's low on the others. So that's the plan. We'll drain that maybe Monday or Tuesday, and I'll take you through that one and show you what's going on there. Bit of windage here. I'm going to get off this. Bloody rain. What's going on? So what else have we done? I spent a day with a mate came round to give us a hand, and we stripped the motor down on the old excavator, and looks like we've solved the problem of what happened with the hydraulic pump. It sheared off the basically the spline that connects the motor into the pump and creates your pressure. So we've stripped it apart. I've now got to just try and find the Yanmar engine parts or the parts for that little Hyundai, and then hopefully I can put it back together and I'll get my little 6-tonner back, which would be absolutely bloody marvellous for doing the diversion stream, which tomorrow I've got to drive all the way north, go and pick up the scaffold poles, which will then be able to do my bankside erosion project. I've also picking up from my good mate Billy Berridge. I'm picking up the hell is that? I don't like the look of that. No way. That is not what you want to see. Unbelievable. Okay, bugger. All right, guys, that's not what you want to see. That's ottered, and a good fish as well. It's my foot. So one of the good ones that made it through, that's been done. I can't believe it. So it's the first otters that I've seen, but obviously that's otter damage, and that's a bloody good fish as well. Can't believe that's happened. Unbelievable. Shell shocked now. I really did not expect to see that this morning. I thought otter time was over. Especially these fish are super active, but they've obviously been getting up into the margins. And that was one of the better fish. That was a good sized fish. That would have been well over 20 pound. It was one that obviously was going to be a 30 plus for this coming winter. So there's 400 or 500 euros down the toilet. Yeah, can't bloody do a lot about it, unfortunately. If you get a big otter come through like that, I just hope I'm not going to find any others. I'm not allowed to, as I've said, I think in one of the others, I'm not allowed to put otter fencing around here because the DDT say I've got to allow the passage of otters across my land. Yeah, fucking great. So they can just come in and eat all of your money, basically. You might as well just burn it, hadn't you? It's not one thing, it's another, and I know there's a lot of problems going on with otters here at the moment, and you know, I'm here most of the time, so what can you do? Anyway, still reeling a bit. I don't really know what to say or do. I'll come back to you. But all right, so up at the scene of the crime, so looks like these are the scales here, a bit of flesh there, so come in through here, which is in this swampy top area of the lake. So I can only imagine that this bigger fish was sitting up in here chilling out. Probably was a bit of spawning going on yesterday. Might have been a bit fatigued. I would have thought at this time of year now, water temperatures over 16 degrees, these would have been very difficult to have caught this fish. So something maybe wasn't right with it, maybe it wasn't healthy. It doesn't look too bad to me, and it's actually a good fish. It was a good fish. It was a nice fish. I would have said it was one of my actual Fensmere ones that I brought up from Fensmere, probably at mid-double. So there you go. So you you're just battling all the time. They're really causing problems at the moment. I haven't had any sign of them here. So this is exactly what happened. Very similar MO to the last year when we, just after our netting in early Jan, I had fish in the holding tank down there, and an otter got in and did very similar sort of bite radius to this, very similar sized fish to this. You know, this isn't a small otter that's done this. This would be a big dog otter, a real big one. I never saw it again after that. I never saw signs of it again after that. So I've just got a feeling it's on its walk through, trying to look for probably for females. Whether they would have already mated by now, I don't know. Again, someone can tell me the reproductive cycle of them. I know that the big dogs over here have a big radius and they've got a lot of water that they can go into. So it's just strange to see this at this time of year. Thought I'd got away with it. You know, just when I was just saying cormorants are gone. A big otter's here, so it might mean it might necessitate some long nights for me up here, just walking around, putting scent out with the dogs, and move this thing on before I have any more troubles with it. So yeah, a bit devoed, guys, as you can imagine. It's just it's just another thing I've got to face and deal with. But hey ho, onwards and upwards. It's just the nature of the beast. Let's get rid of this and get on with it. Well, what to do? You can, you know, you can sort of hope that that's it and it's going to move on and not do anything. But it's problematic because, you know, I've got anglers on the lake and I really need to be there if they catch a big one. You know, so it's hard for me to put myself up here and stay up here like I've done before when I had a predation, and you know, I just mince about the place for the night, couple of nights, and it's generally enough to put these are more wild than a lot of the issues you're dealing with in England, I think, where they're becoming quite, you know, the otters are becoming quite habituated to seeing human beings and are there all the time. Here it's a lot more wild, so at least having a presence here is enough often just to move them on, because they don't want to risk it. Long term though, you know, to otter, as I say, the DDT said I wasn't allowed to otter fence this place, and to otter fence it is, again, it's 15 grand. If I do it myself, I priced the materials up when we bought it, because it was obviously going to be a worry, and you know, I'm not naive enough to see a river running right by my lake like that and not think that there was potential for otter predation. It's getting and being able to deal with it in a cost-effective method. You know, putting hot wires round is easy on the small lakes, small ponds. That one's 8 acres. And then the management of keeping those hot wires, which are close to the ground, keeping them from getting weeds and stuff, shorting them out is a you know, it's just a job that goes on and on forever. So yeah, what to do? Answers on a postcard, please. Address them to Fens, having a mare at Fensmere. yeah, another problemo. Going to get the net here to sort out cormorants. I'll have that one sorted to sort out cormorants. No problem. Now we get an otter invasion. Anyway, look, if you got any people have got ideas, I know lots of people are suffering with this at the moment, especially over in the UK, and I know I can get tornado wire out and I can try and do some sort of fencing and then beg for forgiveness off the DDT afterwards. But I ain't got the money to do that anyway, so that's a sort of a no-brainer. I can't do it. So any other options that people have used to deter the buggers, please let me know in the comments. You know, if it's at this time of year, I'm a bit more concerned then for coming into next winter. Obviously, I didn't see any. That's the first one I've seen since the predation on the one in the tank from last year. So yeah, it's just an odd time. Just an odd time. I really wouldn't have expected it. I would have thought the otters would have enough abundance of food in the rivers now, but who knows. Anyway, I'm going to get on. I've got loads to do. And I'll catch up with you in the week when I'm doing the Leany Pond grading. Keep you up to speed with what's happening with these with this otter. All right, catch us. Bye bye. Well, I'm gonna have a little rant. I've just had a bit of defrag after coming away from the farm. Just come to put some bait down at just driving on my way to the barrage. Put some bait in. Hopefully try and get one session in next week. I ended up with 2 this week. I only did a few hours though, and one of them was an upper 30 and a low 30. I didn't do photos or video. Anyway, bit of a rant coming. You know what do we do? You know, as human beings, we create a bit of carnage. We change environments, and we have done, you know, since this beginning of time. And then we think we can correct it by adding apex predators back into environments where either they weren't there anymore because they couldn't fit in with the changes that had occurred on the planet, or their numbers were rates or numbers that they could sustain in that environment. Now I know in the UK, obviously the otter wasn't about, and it's been reintroduced there. And obviously they're being raised and reintroduced, so they're already human aware, so you've got even more issues. But you don't seem to have some of the issues. I mean, I know that you can get grants, I'm pretty sure, in the UK for otter fencing, especially if it's a fishery, etc., because, you know, it's the other people have inflicted the influx of otters onto you, and if you're a fishery owner, then I'm sure you can get small grants to help with the fencing. Over here, as far as I'm aware, that isn't the case. And over here, they are reintroducing more otters. So there obviously was otters already in France, but very few people ever had many problems with them. But the do-gooders, the environmentalists, think it's fantastic to keep releasing more and more of them into the environment. And obviously more and more people are having problems. I know now you know, I've only had one before that, but that's the second one. But both of those fish were... There's €1,000. They were going to be between 400 and 500 euro fish then by the end of this season. And you can't afford to have losses like that, you know. I don't earn a lot of money, and losing £1,000 out of your pocket is something that, you know, you can't take that many hits. But obviously you don't want to lose too many of them fish, otherwise that'll outweigh what it's going to cost, the 15 or so, 20 grand it'll cost to put the fencing in, if I'm allowed to put the fencing in. So anyway, the rant is, you know, we've got environments now where we've falsely changed them, but we're trying to reintroduce animals. Look at these twats that have just developed a dire wolf. I don't know if anyone's seen that. So dire wolf, biggest wolf that's ever walked the planet. They've, I don't know, found some genes and made one, basically, or bred two. So what's their predator? What keeps them in check when they're killing everyone's sheep and attacking cattle and stuff like that? You know, each and every animal has a hierarchy, and it has its place, and it reaches numbers that are sustainable for their environment to handle them. And what we're doing at the moment is consistently ballsing things up by reintroducing stuff, and then it's the likes of the little man like myself and Sal that have to pay the fiddler for it through our back pockets to try and, you know, get over the problems that are being caused for us. And it bloody winds me up something rotten. You know, it's people can say, oh yeah, but it's, you know, it's the environment, and it's, don't believe you me, if anyone knows me, and anyone knows 99% of fishermen and carp fishermen and lake owners, we bloody love the environment. We're doing everything we can to make it a better place. We do everything that is humanly possible to make everything as sustainable as possible, and we look after it and manage it, and that we have husbandry of the land which is needed. Again, you can say, oh, it needs to go back to wilderness. Well, it goes back to wilderness, just goes back to bramble. It just looks like a shit mess. What we've become to know as a beautiful environment is kept that way because of people like myself and other farmers and people getting out there and making the land look decent. So, yeah, it gets me wound up. It gets me upset and pissed off. And obviously scratching my head as to know what I can do to try and sort it, because it's a current thing. And if that big dog, Otter decides to come back, then obviously he's going to take more fish. So I don't really have a choice but to get up there. It's just how I'm going to manage it. All right. So again, if anyone's got any queries or questions, please hit us up on the site. And those of you that have come across and are dealing with otter issues at the moment, and as I say, I know several. What are you doing about it? How are you going to do it? You know, if there's a few of you need fencing, it could be something that we get together and get a job lot of tornado wire and try and get something cheaper. Anyway, get back to me. Sorry about a bit of a rant, a bit of a negative. It is what it is, isn't it? It's just hard when you think you're over it for the summer, because this is normally the good time. It's normally the time when it's a little bit more chilled, without having things getting eaten and done. So it's given me a bit of a side ball again today and not me Garrity. Anyways, enough of that. Catch you guys. Bye.